I'm back, baby.
Yes, sir. It's back. Wow, it's weird. Wow, it is weird. Ladies, gentlemen, everyone in between, welcome to the new, improved Let's Talk Tendies podcast, baby. Never thought I would bring this thing back. Long story short, hi. My name's Tendy. You can call me Carter, Tendy, Chicken Tendy Gaming, yada, yada, yada. If you're on Spotify, what's up? What's up, guys? My name's Chicken Tendy Gaming. My name's Tendy, Carter, whatever you want to call me. What's up? How we doing? I am the host of the Let's Talk Tendies podcast. Now, it's been a minute. It's been a really long time since I started the Let's Talk Tendies podcast. And a lot of people might not know what it is. So I'm going to give a quick little rundown of what it is. But first off, I'm really fancy, like we got an intro. So quickly roll the intro. All right, intro, name, a lot of this. This is the first episode back, and it's actually going to be the first episode I think we're going to start from. If you are new to this series, and if you are new to my channel on YouTube or my Spotify, consider hitting a follow. Consider throwing a follow, a sub. I don't know what they call it yet. I'm still figuring out the terminology. I really got to get out of this this PlayStation. Sorry, I was about to play Chell. And I got a message from my homeboy, Joner, who's a part of the Yappy Hour podcast. He sent me a video message of him. He was recording his podcast, and he's like, it shot out mine. I'm like, oh, yeah, I should probably record an episode of that, at least the first episode. So this episode it's the first, technically. And I say technically because it's not the first episode of this podcast I've done, but it's the first under the new rebrand. This episode, or this podcast, I brought up, and I had actually when I was around 50 to 100 subscribers, somewhere around that general, the facilities. You don't have the facilities for that, and that's and it was fun when it lasted. I interviewed my friends. I got some other people on it, and it was pretty good. It was live streamed, which I quickly came to realize not the best idea for a podcast because topics can change so quickly. Chat can be missed. You can be so deep in conversation. You don't have the production value. You got to rely on Wi-Fi. You got to this and that. But I eventually, after some consideration, I kind of quietly canceled it. And the reason is I forgot. The real reason is I forgot about it for a while. I think it was maybe 12 episodes. You can actually still find them on my YouTube channel. If you look up Chicken Tendy Gaming, no spaces, capitals on T, G, C, T, and G. Or you can look in the description of this podcast if you're on Spotify, or even just in my channel if you're on YouTube. You will see the old videos. They're actually in the live streams. I think they have their own little section of the pod, own little section somewhere in the playlist. I'm not going to be putting them up back on Spotify. I think that's kind of just a little bit of a waste. And considering it was this podcast choppy and internet cut out and it restarted a bunch of times, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So what is the Let's Talk Tendies podcast? It is my podcast. It is a podcast where we sit here and we talk. We talk about whatever. We have topics. You guys can send in topics in the comments, in the poll section, or the Q&A section of the Spotify. I think you scroll down somewhere. I don't really know how Spotify podcast works. I kind of just put it on there and it goes, okay. It's something I've wanted to do. I guess this first episode's kind of a little bit about me, a little bit about where this podcast is going, what it's been, what's going on with it. So we'll start with that. I think we'll start with who am I? Chicken Tendy Gaming. I am young Canadian lad, 19-year-old Canadian lad who is in college, studying advertising, going through a bunch of different ideas for future programs, future ideas, content, work, things going on in my life. I'm the owner of 5 different channels, which is something that surprises a lot of people when I say that. The 5 different channels are my channel, Chicken Day Gaming, Tendy 2, which is my second channel, Reels and Briefs, which is a group channel that we have not posted on in forever. The 4th channel is Sav and Carter, which is mine and my girlfriend's channel. Again, we still have not posted on for a while. We don't really post on that one too much. And the 5th channel, which is the Concession Stand Network, formerly known as the Concession Stand Podcast. That is also another podcast I am on with my buddy Jonah, or Fry Gang Gaming, depending on where you're from, who you know him as, if you even know him at all. You should know him. He's awesome. Why is my PlayStation internet out? That's tough, bro. Oh, it's back. Another little thing about me, I get distracted real easy. That's probably some ADHD something. I don't know. This podcast, again, it's not going to be a long episode. It's going to be a little introductory episode, so I have something out there. I'm hoping to get some guests on in the future. I'm hoping to get some, different, not only my friends. I got some people in mind that I wanna ask, and 50-50 if they're even interested. A lot of them might not be, which is understandable. I'm a newer podcast on other platforms other than YouTube. So what is the Let's Talk Tendies podcast? It's a podcast, me, I speak, blah blah blah, interviews, blah, 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 just basic single hosted podcast. That's what it is. You can find us so far on YouTube and Spotify, as I figured out. I feel like I'm just repeating myself 9 times over. That's tough, low key. That's tough. Some more about me. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, Kick, kind of a little bit on everything. The only thing I'm not on is LinkedIn, but not really a content account, I guess. I don't use my real name in this stuff. If it's Let's Talk Tendy podcast. I don't know. There's really not a lot going on all at once. This is kind of something fun I wanted to do. Eventually, there's a chance I could make it a new channel. I don't really want to, though. We'll see. We're gonna cover topics every week, I think, or every time that I'm not with somebody. We're gonna cover some topics, and I think one of the first topics we're gonna cover here. Oh, I wrote it down. I don't want to go find it. What did I write down? Bad. I got 2 topics in mind. Now, whatever I don't talk about today, I'll talk about the next time. All right, I got 2 topics off the top of my head, which is bad drivers and bad teachers. I think I'm going to start it off with bad teachers. Have you guys ever had a bad teacher? Ever? Probably. A lot of you, it's with a teacher, it's one of those things where you remember the teacher's names. I'm not going to give names. I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to call anyone out. If I give out a praise to a teacher, I will say that. I'll say their name, call them, sure, absolutely. But if it's bad, I'm not gonna throw anyone under the bus, even though some of them probably deserve to be thrown under the bus. One of the most recent, actually, bad teacher moments I had. Oh, there's dust on my... That's tough. That is tough. I'm so sorry. I literally was just eating. I still have my pizza. It's not Tendies. I know. How surprising. One of the worst experiences I had was actually this year in my PR class, and the irony about it is insane. It's PR. And it had arguably one of the worst teachers I've ever had in my entire 14 years of school. I did preschool too. 16? 15. Oh, I got a message. 15 years of schooling. Long story short, it was our 4th... Oh my god. Somebody liked my TikTok. Long story short, it was I think our fourth weekend. And the first couple weeks the teacher was okay. She was meh. She was okay. She was pretty beginning, she was kind of chill. There's a little bit where it was like, okay, well, she's an oddball, but she was kind of chill. And then it came to the fourth week where it all turned upside down. It started with her slides. And in her slides, keep in mind, not going to give politics, the political figure. You could probably figure out who the political figure is in PR. I'm not going to give out, I'm Canadian, I really can't give out political opinions about the United States political parties, but I'm not supporting one side or the other. Let's say this political figure was very controversial. And she used it in the PR class, which again, I'm going to say, great idea for a PR. It's a great idea for PR. You have such a controversial figure. There's so much public relations, and you have to make so many announcements about them, and it's so many big things. Great idea for a PR class, and a great example. A problem is with how she shared it. So what she did is she took a one viewed approach to it, which was, he did nothing wrong. Again, not giving my political, I again think it's a great idea for a PR example if you do it right. And if you do it right, that is, you show both sides. So she was very pro, and she didn't show, she showed a lot of the pro, or the anti political figure, and not the pro political figure, which is a great example, because I think we're learning about news, which is a great example of, we have one side, which is how the news varies with, maybe if one source says this, one source says that, you might have to give a thing out for the one and not the other. Great topic, except she really dialed in to the point where she started calling him by the initials of the political figure. And that's where we kind of sat there and was like, what? And in the entire maybe 30-something slideshow, there was 4 dedicated slides towards political figure and promoting him as a good guy. Not going to get political here. Still think it's a good idea for an example, because there's so much around him. But she clearly did not get that memo about not promoting politics, and she talked about politics in class. Some of you might be saying, that's not the worst thing you could do. We're not done with the day. We're not done with the class. Then she says, for her, then we started talking about COVID and how it affected, and how the news went on about it, and this and that, and how there was so much uncertainty about it, which again, great idea for a topic. Great. So many press releases were coming out about it, so many news articles, so many of this, so many of that. Except she said one thing, which she said a couple things during this thing, but there was one that made a lot of people uncomfortable, which was, raise your hand if you have your vaccine. I was going to say, I have my vaccine. Fight me if you want. I don't really care. But one thing I do know, you don't ask a class who, keep in mind, you just met, if they have their vaccines or not for a virus which is very touchy for a lot of people. Very touchy. Very touchy. And a lot of us, we all kind of gave that same confused look around the class, and I probably will bring in a couple of my classmates to talk about this further in future podcasts. But a lot of us kind of looked around like we were so confused on what was happening. And I remember sitting there, and I was like, well, I have mine, but no one else is raising their hand, so I don't think I should raise mine. And that might have been the same with other people. It's like, well, I also don't really want to tell her. That's not really her spot to know. We're not in that phase anymore where I have to let you know. So, again, not kind of out of pocket, but not the best thing you can say, but not the worst. And then this is where I this is the part where I really remember, where she turns to me and she goes, I only had to get mine because my job forced me to get it. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, that's not my news, not my problem. We're not done. She also then said, I was afraid I was going to get a tail and an extra hand. Now, me being the smart ass I am, mumbled to my friend saying, oh, well, I'd love a tail. How sick would that be? One thing you guys got to know about me, I'm sarcastic. I'm a smart ass, okay? Like, if I see a smart ass joke, I'm going to say the smart ass joke. It blends together perfectly. So we were sitting there and we're all still kind of looking at each other very uncomfortably, like we don't want to be here anymore. We're not done. We're not done. There's still more. She butchered my friend's name. My friend is Latino. She butchered it with a very, very, very inappropriate attempt at an accent. I don't even know my friend's full. I call her nickname. I call her a nickname. I don't even know her full. I don't even know how to say her full name. I know her by her nickname, and she was clearly stating at the beginning of the class to call her by her nickname. The teacher didn't respect that. Along with that, all around just rudeness from the teacher. So there was an assignment where, not even an assignment, all her assignments didn't come with a description of what to do. It was kind of just, do these 3 things, figure it out for yourself. There was no expectations that were given. And a lot of assignments, even still in college, even still in work, real life jobs, especially in the advertising industry, give a lot of expectation. Here's what you kind of need and everything. Here's a little bit of what you need. You send it through a couple people, they look at it, they go, oh, you're missing this, you're missing this. With her, it was, oh, here's your 3 things you need to do. I'm not really going to teach you how to do it, but you can figure it out. You got it. You got it. You can figure it. You got it. So I sent her an email. I'm like, look, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have a description of what I need, this and that. And there's also no rubric. You might have to say rubric. Then I proceed to say, and then she answers back, or I think it was marked on something, and it wasn't a mark, I lost a half mark on something, and it was like half mark from being perfect. And I did that a lot. There were so many times where maybe 3 assignments in her class where it was a half mark or a mark off from being perfect. I'm like, I did this. It's basically better. There was in there somewhere. It was probably, it's better than the example you given. And there was no explanation of what I needed, no expectation given. And she answered back, have you not been? And I should find it. It was something along the lines of, have you not been at the college for 3 semesters now? I am sure that the teachers, it was formatting, sources. You needed APA sources and a title page, except nowhere in the thing did it say we needed it, which is all understandable. It says, give us a paragraph. You don't expect, if you were given a paragraph without just saying, write a paragraph about this, you would think that maybe it was like, okay, just hand in a paragraph. No, I need a title page, references, this, that. And I'm like, huh? I was never explained that I needed that. And she said, you've been at this college for 3 semesters now. You should be have you not been given this expectation forever? And I answered back, oh no, all my assignments come with a description of what I need in it, or something like that. I don't remember the exact. It was basically I understand, but other teachers have given these expectations in a document saying of what is required and a rubric and this and that, and it kind of ended from there. So one of her biggest final assignments had the rubric, spelt final presentation rubric. Last time I checked, a Rubik is a Rubik's Cube. Like, the little things where you twist and match the colors with the colors, and you have to make the thing all match. Not a grading rubric. Not how I'm going to be graded. You know what else was really funny? That same teacher, she gave us a very big assignment, equivalent to one of our big assignments in the previous semester. So our second semester, one of our assignments in the previous semester, which had so many parts that it was 4 people in the group, and we had a maximum of 3. Last semester, it was a minimum of 3. It was so big and such a big assignment, but she was so determined that everyone could do it with less than 3. It was me and another guy who you'll probably end up meeting in future podcasts if they're interested in being on. And it was such a bad class. Such a bad class. Turns out it's her second year doing it. Her first year, she did stalk one of her students' Instagrams and said that he was so handsome that he should model True Story. I got vouches for that. It wasn't me. I'm not that handsome. I mean, I'm the handsomest dude in the world in my dreams. But it was such a bad bad experience with her. I remember she focused so much on having the correct grammar, spelling, this and that, and she couldn't even put correct grammar in her slides and couldn't spell the word TikTok, as in the app TikTok. The one that autocorrects you when you spell out the app TikTok. She wrote TOCK. No, TICK TOC. Or something. TikTok. I don't know. It was really bad class. I learned nothing in it, and I somehow ended up with a 90. Don't know how I did it. I'm just him. I'm Himothy. At that point, I'm a genius. Okay, like give me the Nobel Peace Prize. I'm so good. I'm so smart. Go me. Another. I'm trying to think of other bad teachers I had. My grade 11 English teacher caused me so much anxiety. I don't know if I've talked about this on my channel. So my grade, high school grade 11th, was that sophomore? I don't know the grading. I don't know how it is in the States. So the 11th grade, the year before high school, or the year before you graduate, I had a English teacher. Don't remember his name. Don't really care. Somebody would probably tell me I would remember it. He wasn't the fondest of me, and I've learned a lot of people aren't that fond of me, and I've come to believe it. But back then, it was kind of like, you're a teacher. You kind of need to suck it up for class. You kind of need to suck it up. You have me for an hour and a half. You can deal with me. And I show up to class one day. In mind, high school wasn't my best times mentally. It wasn't. There was a lot of things going on in the mind that really didn't click, and I wasn't really happy. A lot of things just happening all at once. Basically, a lot of things were happening. When you hit a certain age, your body. Kidding. But it just one of those things. Oh no, was it grade 10? It was grade 10. No, it was grade 10. That's where it was. Because I didn't start dating my girlfriend yet. It was grade 10. Before the lockdown that put us all online. So it was the first semester of college, grade 10. That's freshman, right? That's sophomore. Freshman's okay. Figure that out later. So it's my grade 10 English class, and I remember this day it was an okay day. At this time I wasn't eating breakfast. I always felt sick. Anyone else have that where you feel sick when you eat breakfast too early? I don't know what that is, but I don't know. It just happened to me. So I come in. This is the last class before the day ends. I think it was the last class before the day ends. We are whatever. I get in and just not having it that day. I'm not really having it that day. It's not really a good day for me. I show up, walk in. Teacher goes, "What's up?" And I'm trying to talk to him about something. He wasn't really I don't think he was talking to anyone. I think I was just trying to talk to him because I sat right beside I was just placed beside his desk because how the order was, I was just there. And I was literally just trying to talk to him about, I think it was the Leafs or the Jays or something. And he turns around and he goes, "Oh my God, can you stop talking?" And he turns to the class and he goes, "Who thinks Carter should stop talking?" And everyone put their hand up, maybe except for a few people who I was relatively close with and kind of whatever. And I remember looking around and I remember just feeling like shit. I remember just feeling horrible. And I looked around and I'm like, oh my God. I think that's what really hit me, that not a lot of people were fans of me. Not a lot of people were very big on me. This is not like a feel bad for me type thing. I'm just giving my experiences. Honestly, you feel bad, don't bad. I don't really care. It's just my experiences. My memories, turn it. I don't think that's the words. Anyways, I remember sitting there. I'm like, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to be in this class. And it was at this point, it was later in the year or later in the semester, so I really couldn't change classes. I was kind of past that time, and I just was not having it. I remember sitting there and I was like on the brink of tears. I'm like, how could a teacher say that about me and this and that and I'm supposed to be the one, and it was just horrible. It was bad. It didn't go. I was not happy at all. I ended up moving on, and I was put online. I think that was the happiest I was because I hated being in high school. I hated a lot of people in there. I did meet a lot of my friends, which was great, but I hated the work, and I hated a lot of the people who went to my high school because they're all kind of just, they were not the nicest people. I think a lot of my friends can vouch for that they were not the nicest people. But that was definitely one of the times. He compared me to some like writer. He said I looked like a writer. I don't even know who the writer is, but you compared me to some writer, and I also wasn't too fond of that, which makes also a lot of sense, but to each their own. Apparently I look like a writer. Go me. I'll try to do one more if I can remember. I'm trying to think of like my, you know what, I might throw a praise out to one of my teachers. Who did I really, really love? There was so many in college. There's a lot of teachers I like. There were very few I didn't like, but a lot of teachers were like really chill. One of my favorites, I'll give two. So there was, I can give three. I'll give little short stories on each of them. So I'll start with my design teacher, Steve Conforti, owner of actually We Are Creative agency. Really chill guy. Honestly, his work was easy. It was really nice. He was really chill, really understanding. He was in the mindset of, you get your work. If you need extension, let me know. Like, honestly, the joke with the class was, honest, if you need time, I understand. I don't mark anything anyways because he was really bad with marking. But he was such a chill. He is still such a chill guy. I actually did an assignment on him for my entrepreneurial class where I had to interview an entrepreneur, and I asked him, I'm like, yo, hey, sup? Do you mind if I interview you? He goes, absolutely. I would be honored. And it was a great interview. Really good. I loved picking his brain on how art and design and entrepreneurship. It was just really chill. He's also one of those guys you can kind of go to the bar with and hang out with, and he's the same guy as he is in class as he is out of class. Like, he's really chill guy. Next up, we'll go Nikki. So my teacher, media planning, media buying teacher, Nikki, she is and was, I don't think I'm going to be in her class next semester. No. So Nikki was really down to earth, really chill, really like a lot of them are really understanding. She was really, really chill. And she honestly kind of just was one of those where you kind of like an older sister more than a teacher. She had that attitude like, do your work, do it well. I'm here to help. But you got it. You can figure it out. I'll put you in the right direction, but you can figure it out. She was like the equivalent to an older teacher or an older sister. She also worked in a marketing agency and she toured it, but I worked that day, so I wasn't able to make it. And she was really understanding, really, such a really, really, really understanding teacher. Really, really sweet. Last one I'm going to give a little bit of praise to. She might actually see this. Is Debbie. She, long story short, we were having some trouble in a group member with groups. We didn't want to work with one of them because they weren't professional, and they weren't the guy he just wasn't the best to work with. Didn't really do his work, and when he did it, it wasn't to our par, and it just really bad to work with. And there was one point where we were kind of done with him, like done dealing with his attitude and his work and whatever. So we had this whole kind of falling out. We wanted him out of our group, and Debbie was trying to, and I understand it entirely, she was trying to play good for both. So she let us not have him in our group, but she wasn't going to give away the marks, which is understandable. And he got to use our work, but he didn't want it, whatever it was. But beyond that, she was the really, really smart with social media. She worked social media for years. She was just super smart when it came to posting and when it came to using the right things and the right social medias and when to post. And I'm having her again in sports marketing. She worked in sports. She was so good at just social media, which is something I was really interested in. She even got, through her connection, she got different people to come into class. One of them being, handles Todd Collins. I don't know if that's his name. I do not. His handle's Todd Collins everywhere. Got him to come into class and talk to us. I actually want to see if I can get him on this podcast again. Don't know if I will. 50-50. But it was one of those where it was really cool to have him come in, and again, very into, if it's something where I'm very interested in, like social media, design, sports, love picking people's brains about it. Actually, one of my favorite. I can talk about this after. But she was so helpful when it came to everything and so understanding, and she just wanted the best for us, which is awesome. So I'm happy to have her again. We got to pitch for a client in front of her, and I think we did well. I don't know how well. By the time this comes out, I don't know who won that pitch, but it was really cool in the end. It ended up being such a cool, like, those three were really big standouts for us as a teacher, or as teachers. They were really, really the fresh breeze that we could expect and be kind of excited for at the end of the day. And the end of the, like, without all the bad, they were the good, and they were there for us. And they also let us rant about the teachers we didn't really like, which was really, really nice. Yeah, they were awesome. There was a couple other teachers in there that we liked, who were really chill or really understanding. A lot of them really, really chill and really understanding, which is going to be a future podcast episode where I'm going to talk about the differences between college and college and high school for those who are graduating or thinking about going into college, maybe a little bit of worry. That's going to be a future episode. I got a couple ideas locked and loaded. I just haven't recorded them yet. So this is the first episode. We're going to be talking about teachers, bad teachers, good teachers. The good, the bad, and the understanding is probably what it's going to be called. Other than that, man, podcast. Oh, what was I saying? Oh, documentaries. So I like. A lot of you don't know this. I love wrestling. A lot of you might know that. If you're from my YouTube, again, subscribe. If you're from Spotify, follow. You might not know that. Go check out my YouTube. I have a couple of wrestling videos on there. I just really love picking out the mind of things that I like. And wrestling is one of the few that you really get an insight of how things work, how this and that work. Anyways, it was kind of just to cap off that last. I like watching documentaries and watching things of how things work and how things came to be and whatever. Other than that, man, I rambled for 30 minutes. That's impressive, I think. Definitely not my longest. My teacher was really apparently pissed off by that. Let me know if there's any topics you guys want me to cover in the comment box below, comment section, wherever it is. I also want to give a little shout out to the Yappy Hour podcast. I just hit my entire setup. A little shout out to the Yappy Hour podcast. They gave me a little shout out in their podcast, in one of their recent episodes. If this is up before that, thank you guys. If it's up after, thank you guys. Appreciate the shout out. Long story short, actually in Debbie's class for that pitch to our client, we ended up using their podcast, and I actually got Jonah's permission from the Yappy Hour podcast to use it, and he said go ahead. It was awesome. I was super stoked to use it. It was one of the things where we for social media, we were like, oh, let's use a podcast. And we wanted to, a couple different ones, bigger, smaller podcasts. And it was really cool. Really cool in the end. So I just want to say thank you guys. If you're new to my channel from this podcast, thank you for checking me out. Thank you for listening. If you made it this far, if you have yet to follow, consider doing so. I don't know really how podcasts, my other podcast with my buddy, we kind of go back and forth, and I kind of end it like a YouTube video. I think that's kind of the same here. Follow, subscribe, check me out on all my socials. It'll be linked down below. Check out my other podcast if you're interested in sports. We don't post a lot, but we kind of post when big news happens. If you're from the Happy Hour podcast, again, thank you guys so much. Hope you're on that one day. I just need to learn how to drive a highway. I can talk about that one. I can talk about driving maybe in the next one, and different experiences while driving. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. Follow, subscribe, check out my socials, and I will see you guys in the next episode of the Let's Talk TENDIE'S podcast. Man, it is awesome to say that again. We're back, baby. We are back. Peace.